Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. Today we are going to share with you hand-on experience of applying sugar customizations in an agile way without coding. You will hear the story from each party involved in this process. So let me introduce our today hosts. My name is Anastasia and I'm a CRM consultant at Integris. Integris is Sugar CRM partner and provides the full range of Sugar CRM services as well as develop add-ons for Sugar. Based on our experience of more than 150 completed CRM projects from 10 countries, we found out that regardless of the country and type of business, each company is unique when it comes to a particular CRM user story. Integris provides Logic Builder Cloud tool to configure and refresh unique user stories in Sugar up to 10 times faster. In this webinar, we are talking to Emma Stringer of Cantab Consulting, who uses Logic Builder on a regular basis to cut down development spend for her clients, and one of Emma's clients, Paul Sadlier of Tetra Consulting, who has benefited from Emma's use of Logic Builder. Hi Paul, hi Emma.
Yeah, hi Anastasia, thanks for inviting us on.
Hi Anastasia, yeah, it's our pleasure to be on the webinar. And hello to everyone, I'm Emma Stringer. Fascinating facts about me are that I have a doctorate in robotics, which explains my username if you look me up on LinkedIn. And I have a pug called Betty. She usually sleeps in a pouch on my lap while I work, so please excuse any snoring you may hear during this webinar. I have my own consultancy business in the UK called Cantab Consulting. And I set up Cantab Consulting because I felt it was the best way to address the needs of my clients. From my base in the UK, I can remain close to their users, which allows us to work together on short feedback cycles during requirement gathering, development, user acceptance, and training phases. This means that my delivery team and I are less likely to under or overdevelop a particular feature. I chose to partner with Integris because they have proved themselves to be a first-class delivery team. Plus, and I'm not shy about saying this, they offer competitive rates compared to UK teams. I never miss an opportunity to sing their praises because I want others to benefit from the way their skills and products make working with Sugar so much easier. Prior to setting up Cantab Consulting, I looked after the OEM program at Sugar CRM for 3 years, so I have insider's knowledge of Sugar and the people who work there, and I'm not afraid to use those connections when working for my clients. Talking of clients, Paul, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course, thank you, Emma. So a little bit about myself. I am the Director of Business Development and Client Services at Tetra Consulting. We're a risk management consultancy specifically focused around property and providing our clients independent advice around such topics as health, safety and fire, water, asbestos management. And this is to clients both across the UK and internationally in Europe, North America and Asia. In fact, actually anywhere worldwide. So for the past 3 to 4 years since I joined the business, in fact, I've been pushing the chairman to basically implement a company-wide CRM system. When I first came to the business, we had nothing in place whatsoever. So what we did was, until we were able to actually look at a company-wide solution, because of other pressing engagements and projects that we were looking to do, we implemented Zoho. So there are 2 different aspects to the business. There's a working at height division that use Microsoft's Dynamics, and then there's the consultancy side of the business, which is the bit I own, which has been using Zoho for the last 2.5, 3 years. But these were only ever meant to be intermediate solutions until we were in a position to look at a company-wide solution that we could adopt. Emma then convinced us that we should, in our first meeting, we should look at Sugar because it would give us a tailor-made solution, quick and easy. We're also aware that it's built and maintained by professional developers with an established company, so we would continue to receive updates to the core product and hosted in Sugar Cloud, so we wouldn't suffer unexpected delays or downtime. We chose Emma really to manage the implementation because we were impressed with her knowledge of Sugar and CRM in general, and we knew we could rely on her to stay close to hand during the crucial phases of the project that required our feedback. It was Emma, in fact, that found Integris via a webinar she attended on Logic Builder, and we've found that partnership between Emma and Integris these last few months to be exceptionally good from our perspective. They speak the same language, so we as the client don't have to. A little personal information from me. I'm a father of 2 boys. One boy is has his own gardening empire, but aspires to be a helicopter pilot. And the other one is a professional footballer playing in Division 1 here in the UK. I used to play sport myself, so it's good to see at least one son following his father's footsteps and making money out of it.
I'm really excited and grateful for the opportunity to welcome end user on the webinar. So thank you, Paul, for being part of this. So Emma, let's start with you because you were the one who discovered Logic Builder and sold it to Paul. Tell us, how did you come to learn about Logic Builder and what stood out for you?
Well, I attended a webinar in this series of Let's Practically Apply because I needed to modify Sugar's code to implement the user stories I'd written with Paul and the other end users at Tetra. I had no real PHP or JavaScript coding experience or any deep understanding of Sugar's architecture. And from what I understood, someone with zero programming experience could customize Sugar by using a drag and drop flowchart tool instead of having to understand Sugar's architecture and how to write code.
That's right. I remember you hitting the free trial pretty hard over the first 30 days.
Yes, and thanks for all the hands-on assistance that you and the rest of the Integris team gave me during those early days of learning the tool. In fact, your responsiveness still continues to amaze me 5 months down the line. It's like you never sleep. What also helped are the many recordings of webinars just like this one, which can be used as a training tool. I was building and deploying working flowcharts on the very first day. In fact, I solved 5 user stories with Logic Builder within the first week of the 30-day free trial. By the end of the free trial, I was hooked, Paul was delighted, and he insisted on purchasing the license.
So Tetra Consultant purchased the license, not you as the expert independent consultant to use with many clients.
Yes, of course I have my own license, it's invaluable, but in many cases it makes absolute sense for my clients to purchase their own license. One reason, which we'll come on to more later, is so that they have access to LB Service, which is an add-on to Logic Builder. It allows the logic we build to interact with Sugar's API. The other reason why my clients may choose to buy Logic Builder is probably best explained by Paul himself. Over to you, Paul.
Oh, okay, thanks, Emma. What we love about Logic Builder, it gives us the freedom to change the Sugar logic ourselves further down the line once Emma's delivered the project. She can complete the project quickly and cheaply by cutting down the time required by actual developers. But it also trains us to use Logic Builder so we can tweak the flowcharts for ourselves.
Thanks, Paul. I like to say it this way, and this is how we came up with the title of the webinar. Logic Builder allows users to customize Sugar in an agile way. My clients and I know we can't get everything right up front and that their requirements may change in the future. By me giving them access to the flowcharts that generate the code that customizes Sugar, they can change the logic as often as they like, long after I've left the project. Even when I am involved and building the flowcharts for them, I work on these short delivery cycles, which means demonstrating the customizations and getting regular feedback during development and UAT phases. Quite often, when I demonstrate a feature, the client sees ways in which it can be improved to better suit their needs. So for me, it's a simple matter of tweaking the underlying flowchart in Logic Builder and regenerating the package. Anyway, I think it's a good time to see a real-life example of the type of flowchart we're talking about, one that might need tweaking in the future. I'll let Anastasia talk through it, but essentially it's checking that the necessary information has been added to a quote record before it can be saved. Before we get to the flowchart, Paul, please would you tell us why this was needed?
Yeah, of course, Emma, thanks. Well, my sales team are very good at what they do, but I wanted to make sure that they were entering all the information needed to generate a quote into Sugar so that our consultants who carry out the work are fully aware of the project scope and that we're not underselling ourselves, which that was important to us. However, there needs to be a balance in what we do and how we approach it. I don't want to put my team off from generating quotes, but equally, we need the quotes to be accurate. So we went into the user acceptance test phase with perhaps less restrictions around the data entry, confident that this can be tweaked easily in the future. You can see from the flowchart, or you will do when you see it, that it's highly visual, especially with the comment blocks. So our sugar administrator can see what's going on and find out the section that needs changing once we've decided a better approach.
Okay, so I'll quickly show this flowchart to the audience. So I will open my browser and open Logic Builder. So currently on the screen, as you may see now on this mini map on the left side, this particular flowchart has a variety of passes or flows. A specific type of risk assessment needs specific sets of information for generating a quote, which are basically all represented here. So, for example, if we take a closer look, for example, on based on comments on this water consultancy. So what we see, water needs the user to enter a number of characteristics, for example, like its number of showers, number of tanks, and so on. But after implementation, if we see that users behave poorly by entering, for example, all zeros just to pass this check-in, to prevent them from doing this, we can move this data requirement to a later stage in sales cycle and remove some of these blocks or the whole part, regenerate the package and upload it into Sugar. So in this way, I apply some changes, save this flowchart for future use, then just generate the new package. Okay, I will log in again. Just a second, I will type my login to Logic Builder and password and generate the Sugar package. And then as Sugar admin, I can navigate to my Sugar instance and go to model loader, just find the previous version, install it, and upload the new one. And that's it, actually install, and that's it. In a few clicks, updated logic is up and running in the Sugar instance. So, regarding this flowchart, Emma, this wasn't the first flowchart you created, wasn't it?
No, you can see from the size of it, it's quite complicated. Actually, the first one I created was a straight copy from one of your webinars.
Really? And which one was that? What issue were you trying to solve?
Well, Tetra has a sister company, as Paul mentioned, called Working at Height in Alfreton, which is in Derbyshire here in the UK. They sell equipment kits. They wanted these kits to be available in the product catalogue and to add them to Sugar Quotes. Anastasia, it was your colleague Dimitri who sent me the link to episode 7 in the Let's Practically Apply series, which described exactly the solution I needed. When I got hold of my free trial, I just copied the steps in the video to produce my flowchart.
Yep. So, dear audience, if you have challenge, feel free to contact us and we would be happy to help. And what I suggest is right now to type in chat window in your GoToWebinar panel your challenge, and we could discuss it in Q&A section, or we follow up you shortly after the webinar. So, Emma, I remember how delighted you were to find this solution and how hard you hit the free trial in the next few days. Tell us, what did building this first flowchart with the help of training video then give you the confidence to go on and do on your own?
Yeah, building the flowchart with the aid of the video really helped introduce me to the basics of Logic Builder. I could immediately see how powerful it would be and essentially tried to solve all of my issues within the free trial. At the start of my project with Tetra, I required relatively small amounts of customization. But to do this, I had to understand how Sugar's architecture worked, and this would have taken too long. Instead, I was able to crack on with just Sugar admin tools and Logic Builder. If you give me presenter, I'll show you the first flowchart that I created after the product packages.
Of course, of course.
So for my first flowchart, I needed to create a custom module called orders because Tetra and Working at Height wanted to manage their orders inside of Sugar. I created it as an issue type of module, which gives me an auto incrementing number each time an orders record is created. And here's a flowchart that constructs the name automatically of the new orders record. Starting on the left, we can see that the flowchart is called on data change, after save, on the orders module, or to put it another way, when an order record is saved. It then gets that auto incrementing number I was talking about and the type of order it is, so it can determine which side of the business the order belongs to. So Tetra Consulting orders get the TC prefix and Working at Height gets the WH prefix. It then concatenates the strings made up of the prefix, name start, and the number that it got originally, and writes it into the subject or name of the orders record. Very simple, but to do that encoding, if you're new to Sugar, you'd probably need to spend a week understanding Sugar's architecture and how to customize in an upgrade safe way in order to even do that. The next few simple flowcharts I created during the free trial included some validations on data entry. For example, this one. In the last flowchart, we saw that it started with an on-data save event on the orders module. This time, we're starting with an on-validation event on the contacts module, and it's checking whether both of these types of phone numbers, office phone and mobile, are null. And if they are, it shows a warning message to the user and highlights the field that needs to be filled in. So essentially, every contact record that's saved needs to have one type of phone number. Just to be clear, because I was truly amazed during the free trial, in the examples I've shown, I didn't need a developer once. This is what convinced Paul to buy the tool, so I could carry on cutting time and cost by customizing as an administrator without the need for a specialist developer. However, the simple cases that I've shown are called for events like on data or on link change or on validation. For other types of event, it may be necessary to use the add-on LB services so the flowchart can interact with Sugar's API. For example, a user might select some records in Sugar and then choose something from an action menu that does not involve saving or validation, but some other API call. This is when LB services might be used. I'll let Anastasia talk through this next example, she's way better than me, which uses LB services to create orders from quoted line items. Anastasia, do you want to show what the service looks like in Sugar and how it is then used in the flowchart?
Yep, of course, but just a second, I will return my screen. So, okay, I hope everyone can hear me and see my screen. Prior demoing, I just want to say a couple of words that is the way how we can bring a configurable piece of logic, even encoded behavior. Means that we have buttons, but we do not have to involve developers and to go through all development lifecycle to determine how exactly the order will be generated, what parameters it will have, and so on. So let's go to Sugar and let me show you how LB service looks like in Sugar. So it's currently open on the screen. I will close previously downloaded package. So it has name create order because it basically what this service is doing, it creating orders. And on the right side, there are arguments or parameters. Basically, the main one, it is quote line item IDs. So that is the quote line items that are selected by user to generate order. In Logic Builder, I will switch to it. Let's return on the very beginning of this flowchart. We see that this flowchart starts with on service call. So when this service will be called and the name of this service, which is create order. Then basically we grab parameters from this service passed from Sugar, for example, ID of quote line items that were selected by user. And then there are several evaluations and checking on product types and so on. And finally, the last step, it's, for example, it's in create order itself. So after order will be created based on different characteristic from product. It finished with showing message to the user who called to this logic. So
Thanks,
that's it.
Anastasia. Oh, sorry for jumping in.
Yeah, go on.
It's a big flowchart, and I think we've looked at enough flowcharts, and looking at the time, we should summarize our presentation before hopefully getting to answer some of the questions that may have appeared in the chat window. Remember, we're like a walk-in clinic. If you've got some issues to do with customization that you want to solve, please do type them in. So aside from the time and cost savings I continue to pass on to my clients by using the Logic Builder tool and Integris development services, for me, the message that I would like you to take away from this webinar is that Logic Builder helps you to customize sugar in an agile way. You don't need to get your requirements correct and locked down at the start of your CRM project. You don't have to feel like you're stuck with what the consultant has delivered once the CRM has been deployed. With access to Logic Builder and the flowcharts that went into customizing sugar, you can continue to evolve the application as your needs change. That's my takeaway. Paul, what would you say is a key takeaway message from a sugar subscriber's perspective?
That's a very good question. I definitely second what you've already said there, but from a business perspective, we believe we benefit from your use of Logic in delivering our customizations quickly and cheaply as an administrator rather than a developer, but it's also that it will allow us to continue to benefit once the project has been handed over, so that we're able to continue that ourselves. I know that I will want to make changes to how Logic works, particularly as my team grows with sugar and becomes more adept at putting information in. However, I'd also like to highlight how effective the partnership between you and Integris has been in delivering our requirements to specification. We've enjoyed the fast response and that your development estimates have always been highly accurate, so we're able to make quick calls based on whether to implement or not. So thanks to you, Emma, there at Cantab, and also the guys there across in Integris.
Thanks, Paul.
So thank you, Paul, and thank you, Emma. So let's see now whether we have any questions. And dear audience, if you have any questions, this is a perfect time to type them in. So for now, looks like there is no any questions and no chats. Okay, anyway, if you will have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us in any convenient way. And I suggest to try Logic Builder right now by signing up your 30 days free trial. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Have a great day and bye-bye.